Where is Daredevil?
I'm right here. Don't miss the return of Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again.
So what's next?
I feel liberated.
We're gonna take this city back.
Over medicated.
In an all-new season, now streaming only on Disney+.
They're hunting us. It's time we started hunting them.
I can work with that.
This should be tons of fun.
Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again, now streaming only on Disney+.
Hello and welcome to the last episode before 2025. The new year springs on us like a beautiful spring turnip. Welcome to the Filmmakers Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk film making. From indie film to studio films and
everything in between.
How to get them made, how to make them, and how to try not to
force them on.
Royally.
In a very, very humble opinion. I'm Jos Alderson. Who the hell are you?
I'm Dom Lenoir.
Oh, right, great. That was exciting. But we also have another person who might say it with more enthusiasm. Who are you?
I am Master Jedi Phil Hawkins.
Yay! Because today is a very special Star Wars / crossover into Skeleton Crew territory, where we chat to the showrunners and the director and producer.
I mean, it's not technically a crossover. It's still Star Wars.
Yes.
I mean, they've crossed into space, I guess. But,
cross swords. Yeah, cross paths and gone to the dark side. Do they? I don't know.
Who will have the higher ground?
Indeed. On today's show, we have John Watts and Christopher Ford joining us. Yay! Not only are they the showrunners, but they've also directed so many episodes as well.
As well as 3 tiny movies called Superman? What am I talking about? Spider-Man.
Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming, yeah.
Just tiny movies that made billions. That's it.
That's
fine.
Billions.
So thanks, guys, for raising the barrier to entry into Star Wars even further. You've just got to make $1 billion at the box office, then you can make a TV show. Thanks.
Well, it's actually even worse than that, because you have to be on one of those films, and then Jon Favreau comes along, and then you pitch your story to him, and then he gives you the series. So you have to be making the film first, and then John's got to visit set, and then you've got to basically hit all of those.
So I'm just writing this down. This sounds like that's really achievable.
So, Dom, what did you talk about with the amazing John Watts and Christopher Ford?
We talked about adapting a original IP, how it fitted in with the existing Star Wars universe, working with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, as well as working with child actors, and also having your own Lego merchandise.
Be Dave Filoni, because I think Dave Filoni is a different kind of movie.
I always get the two confused.
No. And just Dom, just playing fast and loose there with the word "we," because seeing though on this podcast, Star Wars, big show. You could say that probably the most perfect thing for me is a Spielberg nut, Goonies and stuff. Who do they send? Who does the Jedi Council send to this interview? Who?
I think
who can we possibly think of that would want to sit down and talk to filmmakers about Star Wars? I don't know. Let's send Dom Plagueis the Wise.
They just chose a good interviewer. That's what I heard.
Primo host.
Dom Solo. That's what he
Dom
did.
Solo.
I mean, it was a pretty good interview, to be fair.
It was.
Sometimes
This
you feel like it
guy,
was okay, and
the
sometimes...
fandom menace. He's there. He's going in.
Fandom menace.
I've got Star Wars fun for days.
It is on YouTube right now, by the way. You can watch it.
To be fair, I did watch the original films hundreds and hundreds of times, so I feel like I'm pretty well qualified.
Yeah, but who bet their house and their kids' food to make a stupid fan film? Okay, let's not do Star Wars trumps here.
That's
okay,
why you've been kindly invited onto the
intro.
To the intro and the outro. So, speaking of which, to stop this argument of this wonderness, it's true. Phil Hawkins should have done this, but Dom did it and smashed it.
It's a great interview, Dom, honestly.
It's had fun. It is on YouTube, like I say, it's on YouTube now. If you want to see Dom and John and Christopher face to face, see their faces as they talk, then please head there some point in your life and watch. In the meantime, though, what we are going to do on this week's episode is come back to the chat. So we're going to listen to John, Christopher and Dom, and then we're going to come back and dissect it, because we've got a question of the week, which is to do with filming with children and filming with kids. How possible is that? How great is that? How difficult can that be? And also, we're going to do our film term of the week with Phil joining as well. So that's going to make it.
Who's Phil joining?
It's great. So shall we play the trailer and get to the episode, and then join us on the other side when we dive deep into Skeleton Crew? What do you say?
Why not?
With enthusiasm this time, please.
Yay!
Yay! Here we go. All right, we'll see. Here's the trailer. Going into hyperspace now.
Tomorrow's test will set the course of your entire future.
Don't you ever want to do anything exciting? Like what? What if we could go anywhere we want in the whole galaxy? A real adventure. No more pretend. I found something buried in the woods. What do you think it is? I think it's a lost Jedi temple. Hello? Be careful where you step. We're lost. Really lost.
Tis dangerous out there in space. Trust no one.
You're a Jedi.
So, welcome to the Filmmakers Podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here. How are you both feeling?
Good, really excited. It's been
a long time.
We've been working on this for a long time, and now finally people are getting to see it.
Yeah, we just want to share it.
Yeah,
with the world.
There's people in another room building Lego with Skeleton Crew.
Yeah,
other building.
I mean, how is that as a moment? I mean, that must be pretty meta. Like, as I'm guessing it's been with you for a long time.
Yeah, something about seeing a ship and characters that we designed in Lego
form.
Really, I don't know. That's really real. It got real.
But the whole experience has been, that from the start. Like, you're constantly feeling, I can't believe this is really happening. Surely they're going to stop us.
Yeah,
and say this has all been a big mistake.
We were all putting the Legos together at our various houses.
Yeah. It's a very soothing thing as adults, I think, like Lego. I discovered it recently, like playing with my nephews, and then actually like my dad's got back into it, and it's a really fun thing. It's nice that it sort of connects. So what does Star Wars mean to you both? I mean, like, I remember for me, the 3 original films I would watch as a kid, like endlessly. Like, we'd watch it probably every other weekend, or at least like, once a month.
Yeah.
And it was kind of what formed my, my core of like what epic good and evil, this wonderful sort of funny humor.
Yeah. I always think it makes me think of like the sense of escape. Like, I grew up in a small town, and just that image of like Luke staring at the twin setting suns and just like wanting to go out into the world and to do something. Like, that always really resonated with me.
Yeah, that it was, just as George Lucas intended it, that it was this modern mythology, and it was an adventure. It was exciting, but also it somehow felt deeper, and it felt meaningful, and in ways that you couldn't even quite articulate as a kid.
Yeah, I think that was it for me as well. It was the warmth behind it, and it was these central relationships had such depth and gravitas, and it was, I always look at sci-fi and it's just a way to expand drama onto a galactic scale, and actually you can kind of take those bits of psychology and emotion and sort of human interaction and project them into something so much bigger.
Yeah, the more fantastical or sci-fi the setting, the more deeply human it has to also be. It goes hand in hand.
So let's talk about how Skeleton Crew sort of came. How did that first idea? Cool. You know, how did it sort of form for you guys?
It started really simply as just a pitch that we had that wasn't anything more complicated than, let's take a group of kids that don't really know that much about the Star Wars galaxy and get them lost in the Star Wars galaxy and watch them try to find their way home. And I pitched that to Lucasfilm in like 2017, right after we had finished the first Spider-Man, as a film initially. And then I was just busy making Spider-Man movies.
Goonies in space?
You don't have to say Goonies in space.
Yeah. Well, you're pitching it to
Kathy Kennedy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Like she's the person you don't reference Amblin to.
Yeah.
You know, and she's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just, we weren't trying to do Goonies in space. We were just wanting to do the story about kids. The idea that the kids wouldn't know how to even start or fly a ship was such a fun challenge. You know, we've seen, Han Solo can just hop into the ship and escape.
Yeah.
And they had to make up things like, oh, the hyperdrive doesn't work now. Oh no, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And for our kids, they just have this different set of problems. And so it was the same Star Wars galaxy that we're just fascinated by and want to delve into. But we have this different entry point because they're kids.
That was just an era when people were making films with kids as main characters that took them seriously as main characters. And I think that's the reference point. The idea that we're going to tell the story from these kids' perspective and not talk down to them, and really, let them be the main characters. It's not just like Goonies. Like Empire of the Sun is another great one that we're not saying.
Yeah.
Non-Amblin is like the Explorers, and like there's really so many of that era where they weren't afraid to like let a 10-year-old kid like be the lead, Flight of the Navigator.
Yeah. I think that's one of my favorite things about this is it does have that 80s, 90s kind of vibe, and it's so timeless. But it's the kids have heart and they they've got charisma like they are leads, but there's also that obviously that sort of childhood thing going on.
Yeah.
Was it always just in the back of your mind this has to be like a kids movie and are you thinking tone in terms of what era in my mind, even though it's in sci-fi and it's the future, we're setting, because it doesn't feel like a millennium. I mean that in a good way. It doesn't feel like sort of a 2000s 2010 thing. It feels like it's going back to that
well, those two things
age.
line up in an interesting way. Like we were talking last night about how Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi are also 80s movies. And so it kind of it all feels like they all line up in a way where there's just a certain feeling that we were trying to capture that just reflects those movies, I guess.
Yeah, and we
were never trying to be 80s.
Yeah, because when we think of being that age, we both have the same experience of, when we would go outside to play, we would just go off and be imagining that something like Goonies or Star Wars would happen to us.
Yeah, our imagination is 80s.
Yeah.
Because that's when we're from.
Well, I think that's exactly what you said about the going out to play. That's kind of what I meant is like, I mean, I feel sort of, I feel so privileged to have been part of that age where, you weren't on your phones all the time. You would go out and you would, have adventures, and your imagination and reality were kind of, intrinsically linked.
Yeah, my imagination was like Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Goonies. Like that's what I was hoping would happen to me.
Island.
Yeah, and Monkey Island. Yeah,
yeah. And I don't know. That's why there's this element too, where the kids in the universe know about Jedi, and that's like those are like the bedtime stories to them.
Yeah,
and it's something they aspire to, and it doesn't quite work out the way they think it will, kind of a thing. We wanted to even include that element.
Yeah, there's stories that exist within their world that would spark their imagination in the same way that these movies sparked our imagination as kids.
Yeah, it's very meta. So how did you kind of did you start off from a point of creating an individual story that would maybe be a series? Because obviously you've got to fit into the Star Wars overall universe. Like, where is it set? When is it set? It's a very complicated thing to sort of piece into. Did you start with the sort of the heart of the story? Like, how did that?
Well, because we had this sort of like long gestation period, like we initially pitched it as a film, and then Disney Plus came along, and then Jon Favreau kind of changed everything with The Mandalorian, and then that allowed us a lot more freedom, especially when Jon came on board as the producer. We were like, oh, this is the perfect era for the kids to get lost in the galaxy because it's a little bit more chaotic and lawless. You know, bad for them, good for us.
Yeah,
from a storytelling perspective.
But I mean, but our story, you know, 90% of our focus was just making this be a good story on its own, and how it can connect and fit in. That's kind of the second part of the puzzle once you have everything kind of assembled.
Yeah, the challenge is to like make sure it's a good story without any of the Star Wars elements. Like it has to stand as a good story on its own. And then everything that's Star Wars about it, like hopefully just elevates that.
I think that's very much why this is a success, and why like Mandalorian's a success. And I think that's what like really stands out of like the best of the sort of Star Wars franchise is that you feel like the people that are creating it really understand the world and the lore and all that kind of thing. But take away all the Star Wars and it's actually just a really good personal story that has a heart, and it has people that you can believe in and you know their interaction.
Yeah, you don't want to use the galaxy as a crutch.
Yeah.
And we know all that stuff. Like that all comes easy because we're just fans of it all. So making it fit into the galaxy or understand the tone of Star Wars was something that, you know, we weren't as worried about. And we had the teams of...
You have such an amazing support team where you have John and Dave and then all of like Lucasfilm.
Like Chang and everyone who understands how to do it.
Those two are like Star Wars Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
So how did the actual writing and the idea process come for making this into the original sort of film idea? Let's start with that, and then you know how that then develops into the sort of
We never wrote it as a film. We always had like just sort of a loose outline, knowing that it would be about like get lost, get home, and then as soon
adventures
happen in the middle,
shenanigans,
shenanigans happen,
and then when John came aboard, it was right as I was finishing the third Spider-Man film, and then it all just really kicked into high gear. You know, we just started writing drafts as quickly as we could to get things in front of him, because he was like, great, let's shoot. I've sort of built this system down at Manhattan Beach Studios. Like, we're ready to go. Like,
strap on a VR headset and fly through your set.
Start building your universe.
It's crazy the way they do it.
Yeah. So it was like slow, and then extremely fast.
So, I mean, how is your collaboration together in terms of that, you know, that creation process?
We just kind of start riffing, writing drafts, trading them back and forth.
We've known each other.
Kind of just snowballs.
We were 18, so it's like it's not a very formal process anymore.
No, it's an informal process.
Yeah.
So like lots of sort of do you do a lot of like world building first, like discussing the characters, discussing the world, discussing the planets? Do you have like loads of conversations before you even get to the writing, or do you kind of like
we talk it out a little bit and then just go off and write and give each other scripts, like trading scripts back and forth.
But that's what's so fun about it, is like the character stories and the world building all inform each other. And what was so we would just be doing that naturally, just through conversations and trading drafts, but then you bring in,
but also our production designer and we're saying, oh yeah, this is their home planet, here's some ideas, and then as we're writing it, they're giving us concept art.
Okay.
So the concept art can inform what you're writing, and you're writing.
Like, I see. Like there could be a scene where they go from this part of the drawing to that part of the drawing.
You get to. It all timed out so that it was all happening at the same time, which is kind of the best, because you get to draw from all the talent of the entire team while you're still writing.
Yeah, which is this great benefit of, weirdly, the technical side of the kind of the Jon Favreau process, or the process of using the volume wall, because you have to have all these designs figured out already
way ahead of time,
pre-production, which is even though it's all digital, it brings it back to more of the approach that you had to do in the old days, where you were building physical models or doing giant background paintings.
Do you think that really helps people get on side with the vision, though? Like when you've got so many visual assets that you're able to tweak in real time and sort of create that world.
Yeah, it's also like great for us too, because you have like a production designer, Oliver Scholl, or like Doug Chang at Lucasfilm, like they're helping you solve problems as well. You're like, we need the ship to do these 3 things. And then you give it to them, you give them a problem, and then they come back like engineers and have solved it. It's nice. It's a really supportive team, and you get everyone on board. and working together to create this sort of shared vision.
So what were some of the sort of themes and characters you had in the beginning? Because I mean, you've got this kind of classic boy versus girl, partnership. You've got the two guys, and you've got the guy and the elephant. And then you've got the two girls, and this like brilliant, like, that just reminds me of childhood and like those.
Yeah, that was me.
That was
my
your
best
childhood.
friend and my older sister and her best friend.
Okay,
Like, there
which
was
one's
a total,
the blue elephant?
Are you Neil or Wim?
I think Chuck is Neil. Yeah, so that dynamic is just like straight from my life, I think.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah. I mean, we started with kind of, more sketched out kind of archetypes for the kids. We knew Wim would be kind of this dreamer.
Yeah, the dreamer, the shy friend.
Yeah, and then we knew that, Fern would be this natural leader who, was going to be really lucky that she accidentally came along. And there would be conflict about who's captain, that kind of kid bickering. And then really amazing, like through the casting process of finding these specific kids, we were able to further kind of specify these kids and make them, we just wanted them to be real and specific. And
yeah, once we cast the kids, we went back into the scripts and sort of punched everything up to be even closer to the kids' real personalities, because that allows them to bring more of themselves, And
they do things, and their approach is something that an adult is never going to be able to anticipate or to create. They just come up with moments and strange little interpretations of just blocking or what the character would do in a certain moment that we just really wanted to let them guide us.
Headspace.
Yeah, you want to capture the essence of who they really are. Like, like Ravi is just such a personality. And I think we were probably imagining a little bit more of like a quieter dreamer kind of kid in our heads. But Ravi's got like this different kind of like electric energy where he's always like,
let's go,
sliding around. Yeah. Climbing up the hill and falling back down. Like, we wanted to make sure he could be himself.
Yeah,
on screen.
So what was the kind of audition process for those kids, and fitting into your mind, like what they were? Obviously, when you're writing, you have very specific ideas of certain things.
Yeah, there was like key scenes or moments that we wanted to see how they played against each other, that we had to rewrite to erase the fact that it was Star Wars or any details.
I see.
Like,
that always baffles me as well.
It was like we created anonymous sci-fi scenes. But then you watch their auditions, you watch what you wrote, but then it's also really important to watch them in between the takes and just them talking about their lives and just who they are. And
that's true.
That informs it as well too, because it gives you a sense of who the kid is, and you get to see how big of a difference it is between their performance and their personality. And like for KB, Kiriana, who plays KB, like a lot of her personality in the show, we just drew from what she's like in real life. Like, she has this strange, quiet poise.
Yeah, but
which we picked up from the audition process.
Leader.
Yeah. Oh yeah, KB, and just the way that we knew that her character would be shy, but we didn't want that to mean that she fell too back into the background, and we wanted because and Kiriana just has this really amazing
she has a
presence, and she's really listening to what you're saying, and it makes you start to wonder.
And she's really
is what I'm saying really stupid?
Yeah, you can really see her processing, everything that she's experiencing.
How important was it in that sort of process to have them all together and to get that sort of group sort of chemistry going on? Because it's like with the Goonies.
Yes,
we've got a friend on the podcast that did like a movie with kids, and the way that you shoot it maybe is slightly different because you're always trying to get the four of them together and that kind of moment. So how did you sort of figure out that dynamic?
It was hard because it was kind of the pandemic. And we really did that first just on Zoom, which is
a Zoom chemistry reading is a really weird thing to do.
But the fact that it did kind of already work in a really artificial setting.
If you already feel like that magic dynamic between everyone in an awkward setting, like a Zoom chemistry read, you start to feel like, oh yeah, this is only going to get better.
Yeah.
And then we were so lucky that when they met and, were on set, they were going through this crazy experience of suddenly being in this show together, and they just became such good friends, and they were so sweet and supportive in this way, like they would just be excited for each other, and they'd be hugging and just being sweet and nice between takes.
Yeah, it's really fun to watch them all like become best friends.
Just running down the street between stages.
Yeah. So what are the practicalities of actually working with killed actors basically in this kind of show? Because
it's the crew loved it because you have to take breaks all the time. The kids have to like go off and do school. You can't do long hours. So it actually makes for a really nice shooting environment.
Yeah, when you have the support and the scope that we were working at, everyone understood going in what those requirements would be,
and you're just trying to make it as fun and positive of an like environment and experience for the kids as possible. So that as well,
hopefully everyone got it.
Yeah, so everyone experiences that.
Yeah,
I suppose one of the main benefits of kids is that they just reality and fiction are so interweaved at that sort of stage of life.
Well, and we wanted to make sure the set was like really immersive in that way. That's why we did so many things practically, so that the kids are really interactive.
I will say though that when Jude then joined, and when he sat down, at the cockpit and was steering the ship and looking and seeing everything out the windows, I think the kids saw that his level of imagining and projecting that imagination through his eyes was so strong. And I think that was like a good lesson to them. Like, oh yeah, you
really gotta
imagine hard.
Yeah.
So what was the process?
Really good at make believe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, what was the process in getting him on board? Like, why him specifically? I mean, he's great. He's really good for the character.
We always imagined a Jude Law like character. Like that's how we would talk about it.
So then you just send it to his agent.
A Jude Law like character.
Yeah, and you have to take that off when you send it to your agent.
We didn't know that he was already a huge Star Wars fan. So as soon as we started talking to him about it, he was so excited.
Yeah, he just got it. He got the character obviously, and just brought so much to it because he wanted the character to feel like he had an incredibly rich backstory. There were so many chapters of his life.
He's lived many lives.
Things he'd gone through and survived, and you could feel them all.
Yeah, so when we put him in the show, it kind of felt like he'd already been in Star Wars for a long time, and we were just like finally putting him on screen or something like that.
It does feel that. That's exactly how it feels when you're watching him. There's this like really like long lived in.
Yeah, like how is he not? Has he not been in Star Wars somewhere?
He had a bunch of scenes in the prequels that were all cut out.
Yeah, we must have missed him in something.
I really we wanted it to feel like that.
So was there any like themes when you were in the sort of the creating process that were like really important? Because we've talked about the story, which is the get from A back to B or B back to A. Obviously you've got all the great character stuff along the way. Was there any sort of themes that you wanted to explore that were important to you about friendship or, the wider world that were kind of in that sort of seeding? Or did that come naturally from the creation? Because, finding that ending, I suppose, is always tricky.
I think with the idea that you're looking for home, it's and wanting it to feel mythological in the way that Star
when you're
Wars
talking
does.
about leaving home and trying to find home and what does home mean,
home really becomes
home's an internal thing.
You're tapping into like a pretty core mythological component.
And that there's a thing where when Luke looks at those sons and wants to leave, maybe at that moment he's not appreciating the good things about home until he then loses it tragically. And his aunt and uncle become skeletons. And it's so scary. That we wanted to tell that story of, a safe, nice home is something that for some reason kids want to leave. They maybe feel hemmed in. And then once they're gone, they realize, oh, home is actually
really good.
Amazing. I need to appreciate that in a new way, in a way that you've now matured into in a because you've gone through that journey. Yeah, so it's something around there.
Yeah.
So let's talk about like Jon Favreau and another great John.
Another great John.
Just how that sort of conversation, how that developed and what the input was.
It started on the set of Spider-Man. We were shooting a scene, and he had an iPad that had dailies from The Mandalorian that he was like looking at and just showing people. On set, he was like, "Hey, look at this! Is this cool?"
You showing it? No one's supposed to see this. Look.
Yeah. It was okay. It was a close set. And I said, "Hey, do you know about the thing that I've been developing over at Lucasfilm?" And I gave him like the shortest pitch possible, and he was like, that sounds really fun. Would you be interested in me producing it? Because we've been sort of, developing this sort of system. And I was like, yeah, that would be great, Jon Favreau, of course.
So being in the right time and place, all you've got to do is make a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, you have to
make
three.
Set.
Yeah, you have to make three.
Yeah.
No, and it was like just all the timing just all lined up perfectly, so that we were essentially, as soon as we finished shooting that, we started writing the actual proper drafts for John and Dave Filoni, and then it just moved really quickly.
So what was that micro pitch like? What did you?
It was like it's about a group of kids that get lost in the Star Wars galaxy and have to find their way home.
It's great.
And he was like, yeah, okay,
I'd make that.
Yeah.
So
he was like, what if they met pirates? Like,
right. Yeah.
Like, pirates.
Classic. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Classic Star Wars pirates as well.
Yeah. Well, because he was already exploring these edges of the galaxy in Mando. So he just saw like what a ripe opportunity it was.
Yeah, and there are some nice parallels in the kind of characters. I mean, like the kind of wolf character. I don't even know what creature it is. But
Shistavainen.
I mean, it's
doesn't have
it's serious
pronunciation on Wikipedia.
No,
it's serious, but it's actually really, really funny as well. I mean,
yes,
like, just brilliant characters. There.
What's great,
well, he's actually scary. I mean, that suit is so cool. It seems so alive. The way that it's his muzzle,
snout
snarls and actually talks.
Yeah, it was
live. It was insane.
Pre-programmed to all the dialogue. We recorded all the dialogue ahead of time, and then the animatronic people programmed the mouth to move. So what you're seeing is like an actual in-camera werewolf.
And I just love seeing that the directors have to go talk to him and give him a suggestion. He's like,
yeah, you're afraid to give him a note.
Yeah, in case he eats you.
Yeah.
So what were some of the creative sort of maybe moments that you had from those two, like Dave and
oh my
John?
gosh.
I mean, obviously there's going to be an.
They were just always there if we needed them. We'd pitch things to them. We'd look for ideas, but they were basically
the perfect.
They're like the biggest fans. So like. They're our first audience. They're the biggest Star Wars fans in the world. So you're pitching to them as basically your first audience members, and seeing, what they like and what they don't like, and, getting just amazing ideas from them. But I always say they felt just like a giant safety net below us. And they just sort of encouraged us to run with our idea. And if, they would make sure we stayed on track.
So when you were sort of developing the idea, was it always this is going to be one series because they go away, then they come home, or was there discussions of beyond that into a another sphere?
We wanted it to have an end and a conclusion.
We wanted to make sure that the season had a really solid beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah,
but if people like it and want to see more Skeleton Crew,
we can go on an adventure.
And there's a built-in dramatic component already to just the kids growing up.
Yeah,
like they're already, a lot older than they were when we started. And
it'll be a different scenario because they'll be older.
Yeah, it would be really interesting to see who they grow up to become.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see
in a war-torn galaxy.
Full-grown blue elephant would be pretty exciting.
Exactly.
And he gets smaller and smaller.
He gets smaller? What?
Benjamin Button.
Yeah.
So what were the biggest challenges of, actually, once you'd written it, you'd gone through the sort of that process. You're on the set. You've obviously done sort of, big movies before, but how is this different? What were some of the sort of difficult bits?
The biggest challenge is more like during prep, where you have such a rich, complex galaxy to choose from, like to choose locations, to choose
designs.
Yeah, so you're sort of like overwhelmed with incredible location options and alien options and ship design options. Like being able to like limit your focus to pick the right thing for the story sometimes is hard because everything is cool.
Yeah, sometimes the best design or the coolest idea for a spaceship isn't the one that you have to pick because you need to pick the one that serves the story better.
Yeah, and the
which
characters.
is this weird feeling. You kind of feel like, oh, am I blowing this? Should we,
Yeah.
But you have to kind of stay true to the story. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And that's the guide. But I think that would be good. And it's like a good problem.
Yeah.
That was the thing on this. We had so much support and we were so fortunate the whole way through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the home planet especially, like it feels like such a lovely like suburban 80s street with like sort of subtle sci-fi elements like woven in.
Well, the idea was that it's a nice place to live. It's like safe. It's a little bit quiet, and that's what we needed it to be from a story perspective. And so you take that idea and you pitch it to your production designer Oliver Scholl and the design team like Doug Chang and everyone at Lucasfilm, and sort of see what they come back with. And yeah, that was another just like fun process. Like, it needs to serve this point in the story. What does that look like in the quickest, simplest way possible?
And I think that's one of the things I really love about this is that some Star Wars really like focus on the world around the world, if that makes sense. Like the side planets, the politics.
Every part
the
of Star Wars is interesting. Like even the mundane, details at the edges of the galaxy.
Well, because it gives it sort of context and reality.
Yeah.
So just last question to both of you. I mean, obviously you've gone through you've worked together for a little while. You've done some big stuff. What was some advice for yourself when you were starting out? Maybe before you got to that big break. 'Cause, I mean, you've explained very well how you got to Star Wars, but
what did I say to you at the beginning of this?
Though it's a marathon.
Yeah, it's endurance.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you have to find a way to maintain the same level of like excitement and enthusiasm like on day one as you do on like day 250 or whatever.
Yeah,
like that's what it's about. Trying to capture that and maintain that.
Yeah, and you have this kind of boost to that because it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
So you can always, if you're feeling tired, you're feeling worn out from a hard weeks of shooting, you can. I always found I could just stop and go, wait, think about what you're doing. This is amazing. And
you'd go sit in like Wim's house.
It's just just hanging out on the sets.
Yeah,
just sitting in the.
It's a nice space to be. Yeah, wonderful.
Now at McDonald's, a McDouble is $2.50, so you can get your gym gains on, or just get lunch for only $2.50. Get more value on the under $3 menu.
Limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher for delivery.
Oh well, massive congratulations.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
I was emailing and asking if there were more episodes to watch.
Sorry, you have to wait.
You kind of had the biggest gap because
I know. Yeah.
Sorry,
but we get to see it first.
There you go.
Which is pretty cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, glad you like it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
There we have it. How amazing. Dom there with Jon Watts and Christopher Ford talking all about Skeleton Crew. So I didn't list this off before at the beginning of the intro, but I should have done some of their credits just because I think it's really important. Jon Watts, he was the operator on Sexy Beast. You didn't know that, did you? Jonathan Glazer's Sexy Beast, he operated. He made quite a lot of short films as a director before being associate producer on Natural Selection and Magic Valley, before he moved into executive producing on First Winter and The Last of the Great Romantics, before directing his debut movie in 2014, Clown. After that, he directed Cop Car, which he also produced and wrote, which he wrote with Christopher Ford. And then he produced a movie called Children, and then he made Spider-Man Homecoming, which is just...
Never heard of it.
No, I'm surprised anyone's heard of it, really. I don't think it made a splash. Kevin Feige produced that, and then he did Spider-Man Far From Home as director and writer, and Spider-Man No Way Home. And very recently, he directed and produced and wrote Wolves, which was the George Clooney / Brad Pitt movie, which I really loved.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was great. And then should we just do Christopher Ford's credits? Christopher, again, it's been around quite a long time. Again, they worked together on Clown, short film. He wrote Robot and Frank,
which is a lovely movie.
He wrote Cop Car, he wrote Spider-Man Homecoming, and The Cloverfield Killer he produced and wrote, and Chaos Walking he wrote. And now he's written Skeleton Crew, and he's also the exec producer of Skeleton Crew, along with
Dave Filoni,
Jon Favreau, and
Jon Watts. Yeah, so there we
Kathy
go.
Kidding and the whole lot.
So what did we think to that chat?
Dom, I grant you the rank of master.
Mass debater.
It was a lovely chat. They're lovely guys, and obviously big fans. And I have been so excited for Skeleton Crew ever since, even hearing about it. After for 3 seconds got off my high horse, I was like, that's the Star Wars thing I would have pitched. Goonies in space. But like, I loved the episodes, and I thought it was really.
I did use that phrase on
you
the
did,
episode,
yeah.
And got shot down.
I know, there's a little bit of pushback.
Kathleen already knew it.
Yeah, I know. But it is. I mean, you can't deny it, right? And I'd take that as a massive compliment if someone said to me it made Goonies in space. It'd be like, oh my God, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
So yeah, they say it's its own thing, but actually the whole charm of it is because it's capturing everything that came out of Spielberg's brain in the 80s, essentially. And obviously Donna and other people at the time, not just Spielberg, but that's the, and done it really well in set against Star Wars. Like, it's brilliant to see Star Wars Suburbia. It's brilliant to see kids going to school in Star Wars. I love it. And you know what?
On their speeders.
Yeah, my kids love it. My kids absolutely adore it.
There you go. And Jude Law putting in another fantastic performance.
Funny one on him. So just before I go into the interview, this I'm not going to say who it was, but it was some kind of interview-ette comes out, and she's like, that was a lot tougher than Jude Law. Just as I'm about to walk in, I'm like, well, hang on, how hard is Jude Law? I mean, that sounds,
exactly. Let's difficult. Put Jude Law on it. But was that really difficult? Because how difficult is this? Yeah. Well, no, but you got quite a lot out of them as well. And again, look, as showrunners, and as much as they're brilliant directors and have made some amazing movies, not all directors and showrunners and producers want to talk. Not everyone's very. It's easy.
It's completely different interview styles as well. That's the thing. We were sort of coming from slightly different backgrounds, so. Showrunner actually quite easy for me to talk about, and maybe actor very easier, sort of more in the trivia sort of side of things. So it's
so it worked out.
They were both nice to chat to.
Yeah, and you could tell like they had just been like mates for a long time. They worked together very well. The thing about the way they wrote was really interesting to hear. And then got into working with kids and casting kids, and I thought there was some gold in there. For people, looking to work with kids or interested in how that whole process works. The same techniques that they do on this big, huge, massive Star Wars show is like what I do on my things. It's a lovely thing to hear.
Yes, I named you without naming you.
I saw, thank you very much. I mean, you could have dropped my movie in there.
Couldn't.
No, that was very nice, Dom. If I couldn't be there in Seoul,
Exactly, and at the time it's very difficult, isn't it? Sometimes in those interview situations where cameras are on you as well, just suddenly it's actually quite difficult to remember so many things. You're trying to think about the next question, let alone it can be tricky. I look forward to you doing one, Phil. I actually wish you'd done it. It would be really fun to see you like presenting.
Straight down. I'll be like, none of these generic questions. Right, let's get into it. Why is there a ship in the background that actually is a timeline? Blah, 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 blah. No, I'm not that guy.
Speaking of which, that's great because it brings us on to our question of the week, which is working with children as filmmakers and working with kids, how difficult that can be, the challenges that you can have with kids. But for me, to start this off, I've had nothing but brilliant times working with kids. I've really enjoyed it on a film set, just playing and sort of going, right, how do we do this? Maybe we start in the audition process and about what we've learned from stuff like that. But for me, it was nothing but a joy. There was no issue. There was no worry. Everyone says don't work with kids and animals. Well, I've worked with both, and I sometimes prefer them to actors, grown-up actors. So, yeah, Phil, what's your experience? Like, 'cause obviously with Prancer, Christmas Tale, and very recently Robin and the Hoods was filled with kids.
Yeah, 50,
amazing.
50 of them.
Wow.
But, I think what, John and Christopher
One
saying
for every
about
year of your age.
Thank you, Dom. Said right after my birthday. Yeah.
Yes, add another 10. But
what's the audience? Oh, happy birthday. Thank you. What was really interesting, John and Christopher saying in the interview about watching them between takes, I thought it was really interesting because that's exactly what I would do with them. I'd make sure I was talking to them, and I know you do this similar thing, Giles, about it's not just about the words and the script, it's about what they bring to the words and the script, and then that informing that the way that you write if you're still writing, or the way that you find the chemistry or cast the other kids, like that chemistry is all important. So it's really lovely to hear them talk about that. And because you hear sometimes like, oh, we just found some kids and we got them to, even like Chris Columbus, like publicly on Harry Potter, said, oh, I just line read them and shot them in 17 different angles, and we eventually got what we needed. And I'm like, wow.
Wow.
Good job that worked out for those guys.
Time and money, it did work out for those guys. Yeah, that's speaking of it, that's fascinating watching that. Was it the 20-year Harry Potter anniversary? Even though it was last year, I think it came out. It's on now on Sky Movies, and it's really interesting. Christopher Columbus talking about that and the behind the scenes of it. But when we've done the same, Phil, and it's sometimes not about. Well, it isn't about talking to them like they're children. You have to talk to them on the same level. Absolutely. And treat them in exactly the same way as you would an adult. Yep. Sometimes it's just a different angle in. It's just a different mindset that might need to get them somewhere. I remember Mitch Normal on The Dare was he managed to cry on cue, but he said, look, I will think about my granddad here. And I was like, okay, thinking, I don't know what's gonna happen, and he just did it. He cried on cue, and some kids are a magic at it.
Yeah, and I think it's just you have to remember that they actually have points of view that have long left you as adults, and those points of views are like really original and unexpected. And that's what they bring, really, is that,
and that's what stops it being cookie cutter, isn't it? Like we've all seen those kinds of performances that are very kind of stale and there's not much life to them, and that's why films like The Goonies and Explorers and these kind of movies that survive and last is because they don't patronize kids, both directorially but also from in terms of story, and so it always re-engages the kid in us, and it engages the kids watching. And that's what I'm always trying to capture when I work with young actors, because Dom's right, exactly. It's a great way of saying it. Is like their viewpoint is very different, and that's fine. That's cool. That's interesting. I want to know that viewpoint, and I want to hear those ideas, because that's what makes everything better. And the unexpected is what you're after. And I feel that that's the problem. And Joe said earlier about like, you work with kids and animals and you've had a great time, is because you've enabled them to play and you've been open to play. And I think directors, or where the cliche comes from, is maybe a slightly different beast of director. They're going like, no, the kids need to do this in exactly the way that I want them to do it. And therefore it takes all the life out of it when you don't get any truth back. And then it's a nightmare, because then you're just chasing the dragon, right? You're like, why is this? You're doing exactly what I want you to do, but why is it not real? It's like, well, that's because you're line reading them. So
I also think it comes to the myth of that, working with children is difficult, because they used to work on film. So therefore you didn't just be able to roll the camera and go, okay, let's play, let's talk. And we can do that. So it's definitely improved. But for me, it comes down to the casting. It's all about knowing how free they are, how comfortable they are in front of a camera. And one game I really like to play in that casting room is pretend you're at home. I want you to pretend you're at home and you're talking to your little brother and he's just stolen your remote control or your favorite toy. They're very real. Kids are brilliant at being very realistic, and they can recreate stuff. They're magic as well. Their brains go off in all directions, and it's incredible to watch. And that's when you know if they can do it. Exactly. Exactly. And once that elephant's in the room, you never forget it.
That poor kid, though, like he's not getting recognised going down the street, is he?
It depends if he's wearing the outfit.
That's true.
It's true, yeah.
That's true.
He packed his trunk.
I bet he wears that everywhere. It's like you're going swimming wearing the blue elephant outfit again.
Oh dear. Absolutely. What have you learned? What's tips then for you, Phil, working with kids, not only what we've talked about, but something else as well, which help our listeners?
Maybe I'll give it away now, but like I would say you're not just casting the kids, you're casting the parents.
Yes,
so
that's good.
They're the ones that are going to be with you on this journey. They're the ones that are going to make this a lovely experience. Or I'm talking maybe more for a feature. Sure, you could probably get away with get through most things. On a feature, you really need parents that are going to gel together as parents, but also be on side for the things that you need. And so I'm very much not saying that I have spies in the waiting rooms of kids auditions, but I may have spies in the waiting room, because it's important. And I've definitely not cast a kid because the parent's been a nightmare in the waiting room. Like, absolutely. So,
that's great advice.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how good the kid is, because you know that if the parent's a little bit like that, it's going to rub off on the kid in some way on set, where they go, well, if they're going to be difficult, I'm allowed to be difficult, or I'm allowed to be awkward, or no, I'm not doing it anymore. I think that's great advice, Phil. I haven't thought of it that way. That's great. Dom?
And also older blue elephants are quite wise. So
that's very true. Yeah. And while we're at it, some advice, in your opinion, then.
I thought I fell asleep for a second then, and then what topic we're at.
I think the whole thing about this show in itself is mostly it's capturing that sort of 80s joy. And it doesn't feel like it's trying too hard. It feels like it understands, and it's not trying to disrespect the Star Wars world, which I think is the number one thing to really alienate fans. But it's actually really story focused. It's very much about finding people that gel and get on and have their own sort of personalities, and allowing, them to influence the script. And they said that on the show, that they worked around, what Phil was saying as well. They worked around the kids and what they had, and some of their quirks and charms, and they sort of built that into the characters, so it was stronger. So don't fight the flow, and don't try hard to make it into something rather than letting it be what it is.
Yep. Skeleton Crew is out on Disney Plus now. Speaking of which, having kids, do you think that made you a better director of kids?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So just have kids. That's the
decision. That's it. Then they're tax deductible. I'm saying that for HMRC's purposes. No, I don't know. No, I've done a lot with kids beforehand, because I'm a bit of a prat, and I like to have a laugh and a joke, and I think kids respond to that. I don't take myself that seriously, hopefully.
And this is just
like everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. And kids like that. So I have done a lot with kids, and I was the guy at weddings that people hand the child to, so
that sentence there.
The free creche.
Yes.
But but I think it made me maybe more patient, or more, maybe it may develop the slight dad tone.
Yeah, but also I think it should, like I say, it's all about being on their level. Definitely for me, having been a stepdad to kids at that age suddenly made me go, oh, that's what they mean by that. Oh, okay, they're not maybe disagreeing with me or ignoring me. They're listening, or they're thinking of something else. So it's just all those things that you understand. So yeah, maybe a director to go work at primary school for a bit to do the drama section. Why not? You'd understand how to work with children. It's
embrace some elephants.
Absolutely. Right. Let's get to the most exciting point of the Filmmakers Podcast. It is our film term of the week. Let's play the jingle.
Dom and Charles's film term of the week. Dom and Charles's film term of the week. Oh, Dom and Charles's film term of the week. Dom and Charles's film term of the week.
It's great, isn't it, Phil? It's the first time you've heard it.
Because what I just heard was
let's not do a live one of
was
that.
like a lightsaber going down a chalkboard. Is that?
How does that sound?
I could try it.
We can't hear your visual cues.
We can see your face. Our listener right now is going, "What's Phil?
What is going on?" It's too
right,
giddy.
film term of the week.
This is why they didn't let me do the episode, by the way.
Yeah,
now I know why they didn't let me do it.
Yeah.
You'd have just geeked out, and it would have been brilliant. Okay, so the film term of the week. If you know it, don't shout out. But if you don't, that's where this becomes fun. So obviously in the past, we've had things like cheese grater, and we've had, I can't remember any other ones.
Bellows, something bellows.
Yeah, but yeah, we had the elephant as well, didn't we? Yeah, we had the blue elephant. Which was basically a foldable reflector. So today's film term of the week is a C-47. Phil's face. So do you know it, or do you think you know it?
I think I know it.
It's okay. That's good. Dom, what do you think?
I don't know.
I don't. I think it's something. I think it's either like a camera or lighting. Like it's either like some kind of flag for a camera, or it's some kind of like lens,
a C stand,
like lens ND filter or something. Maybe. Yeah. It feels like it's in those two territories.
I don't know.
It is simply a clothes peg.
Ah,
is it?
C-47. It's a clothes peg. Yeah, it's.
Is that some war thing?
Well, a C-47 is a plane,
I wouldn't
right?
have pegged it as that.
And it's very different. You can't compare the two. But a C-47, no one really knows why it's called a C-47. It's kind of fuzzy. Some say it's named after the aeroplane because it's versatility. Others say it was named after the bin in which they were stored. A C-47 was just the name of the bin, the number.
I can tell you exactly why.
Think, Phil?
I think it's because you write down C-47 on your consumables list, crew can charge the line producer more money. If you write a clothes peg, it doesn't sound very technical. Got C-47, it's like, oh yeah, it sounds expensive.
So tax evasion.
That's really no. It's to get more budget. No, but do you know what? You could be right because no exec's going to go C-47. Oh yeah, that's a C. You need a C-47.
It's like the air gap. Thing.
Anyway, the C-47 is one of the most used on a film set. Like if you notice how, I don't know if you've seen this. Like if someone's wearing a hoodie, someone will put C-47s or pegs attached to the hoodie until they realise. Have you not seen this?
Well, that's a good idea. Next time you wear a hoodie, you're wearing one now.
Exactly, yeah. They're basically
someone used to go and peg him.
Yay! Basically, they used to clamp filters. So you weren't far wrong, Dom, when you said, they'll clip filters to a barn door, or they'll put the tracing paper or that really loud, colourful. What is it? The plastic paper stuff that they put. What's that? Trace, thank you. Yeah, and it's so loud and annoying. There's the colourful ones of that. They can also be used to hold up fabric or prank unsuspecting crew members. There you go.
There you go. C-47.
That's a C-47.
I like it.
It's our film term of the week. We had Juicer before as well. You know what Juicer is, Phil?
I don't. I've obviously missed that episode.
You have, because it's on-set electrician. Bring the juicer.
Oh, juicer! Oh, yeah, of course.
It's a juicer. Yeah, of course. You've heard it. Yeah, it's just.
I knew that already.
I knew that cheese plate we had the other day, which is the metal holes, which designs utility bracket basically that the camera can mount things on, easily allowed to screw things onto it. What about I'm just going to throw in another because this is fun. The Abbey Singer.
Oh, isn't that the second to last shot of a day?
Yes, it is. Well done. Do you know why it's called
rhyming slang?
No.
Wasn't it related to an actress back in the day?
Sadly not. No, it was a famous production manager who would tell his crew 2 shots before the set needed to be collapsed, and they'd say, "Oh, Abby Singer's coming around. Oh, it's the Abby Singer."
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that great?
Yeah, it's cool.
Thank you so much for listening. You're all amazing. Have a brilliant New Year's Eve and go into New Year strong and powerful, knowing
with the force.
That you can go out there and make your film with the force fully behind you.
Yeah.
Phil Hawkins, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I've been Giles Alderson.
Yeah, you have been Giles Alderson. Who are you now then?
I am. Next year I might be someone different. Let's see. Who are you?
Domakin Skywalker.
No, I'll take it.
He's been going Dom solo on us. Oh no.
He's been Giles Alderan. Yes.
That's a good one.
I'm about to Alderan off though. So thank you so much. We will see you next Tuesday when we think we've got William Tell.
I like Giles Alderboy from when we did the Conclave.
Oh yes. You did enjoy that one, didn't you? You did very much so. Oh, it was fun. Coming up for you, we have episodes with the team behind The Brutalist. I got to sit down with Guy Pearce, and we have our short film Oscar potential nominees with Zoe Saldana and Rashida Jones. We also have the film Unstoppable, as well as Tell, Nick Ham's William Tell story. And probably in February we have the live event from Funny Life Film Festival, and also Coralie Forget chatting about her film The Substance. It's going to be a cracker of a year.
Yay!
That's it. What's more to say than have a brilliant New Year's? If you listened to this before, if you don't, have a brilliant 2025. Make it happen for you.
And listen to all 400 and something episodes
in between now and the next episode.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Absolutely do that. And then you'll catch up on all these film terms. You'll know everything about filmmaking and life. Oh, and by the way, yes, if you do want to come along to the premiere of Food for Thought, my documentary, it is on the 24th of January at the Royal Geographical Society in London. Tickets are on sale now. All money goes to charity. Every single penny. Skeleton Crew is on Disney Plus right now. Until then, thanks, Phil. Bye.
Thanks, Giles.
Thanks, Tom. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Happy New Year
to you.
Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year.
Right.
Will you record it? All right, I'm stopping recording now.
Right, finished.
Please. Dom hates this. Every time I do it, he's just like, I'm going to stop recording.